All right, next up, we have our keynote speaker. So Rachel, come on up. This is Rachel Carlson. She is the co-founder and CEO of Guild Education. Rachel, okay, give her a round. Rachel was born and raised in Colorado and chose to have her company headquartered here in Denver. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Let's try now. There we go. Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is a really amazing community and crowd to be joining today.
Great. All right, so first question, why is Guild in Denver and not in San Francisco or New York City? What's special about it here?
Yeah, so origin story for Guild. We started the company right as I was finishing graduate school, MBA and Master's in Ed at Stanford. And so we started it on Stanford's campus, which sort of feels like a cliche to say, but it's not as great as it sounds, actually. It was good in some dimensions. We had lots of access to faculty and funding. I'll put a period there. But we were looking around and realizing that the community we wanted to build a company with, in terms of the people we wanted to hire, both weren't in that community and couldn't afford, nor could we, to stay in that community after graduate school when you just pretend you can afford it because you take out student loans, right? And second, we were realizing that we wanted to build a company for ordinary people. I'll say a little bit about Guild in a second. But there's a problem on the coast right now, which is a lot of the technology, a lot of the innovation, and a lot of the funding is going towards making things better for rich people. And that's not a bad thing. It's just not what gets most of us up in the morning. I didn't want to build a valet service to make it easier for venture capitalists to park their car in the morning. And our peers were building that company and they were doing great. That just wasn't what we wanted to do. And so we wanted to start the company somewhere where we had a community that felt aligned to what we wanted to build. And we wanted to also be in an ordinary community building and solving problems for the 99%, not the 1%. And that's close to Guild's mission. Just quick highlight of what we do so it makes sense why I care about this. Our mission is to unlock economic opportunity for America's workforce. And we do so by providing education to working adults. We've partnered with Fortune 1000 companies to offer education as a benefit to their frontline workforce. So if you've ever heard about employees at Chipotle or Walmart or Disney having the chance to either go back to college or learn how to code or get a high school certificate if they haven't completed high school, or even prep for college or earn English as a second language, we are the backend that powers those programs. And we also have built a network of universities and learning providers, all public nonprofit organizations on the universities that connect with those students to offer the programs. So we're a bit like the Kaiser for education benefits, in that we've built the administration platform and all of the systems to connect employers and universities, but then we built this network of universities and learning providers so that every student in all corners of America, rural, suburban, urban, mostly low and middle income, have the opportunity to go back to school as a working adult. And so knowing that we wanted to help that population, it just felt critical to think outside of the Silicon Valley box in terms of deciding where to go. And I can share a little bit more about why Denver.
Yeah, please do. Why Denver?
So I grew up here. I'm third generation Coloradan. My kids are now fourth. They'll be fourth generation East High School grads when they make it to high school. So if we have any angels in the house, hello. Oh, thank you. Hey, Lula. So I care a lot about the city. So in honesty, no conflict, no interest. Like, I basically threw the cards to Denver once we decided we were going to leave to San Francisco. We nominally looked at Portland, Phoenix, and Austin. I think Austin would have won had Denver not had the hometown poll. But let me tell you how we convinced our investors. So this was 2015. And our investors had already let our seed round. We had raised $2 million from Aileen Lee at Cowboy Ventures, who coined the term unicorn. So she's like in the know in San Francisco, and she's very passionate about San Francisco. And then from Michael Deering, who had been on the original team at eBay and really is kind of like a Silicon Valley original and had been my professor at Stanford. So they are like as hard-bleeding Silicon Valley leaders as it gets. And when I told them we were thinking about Denver, it was our second board meeting. Michael said to me, "But this is the Renaissance, and you'd be leaving Rome And if you meet him, you'll know like he's kind of theatric, like this. He said it. And then Aileen, who's just a little more brash, was like, "That's a fucking bad idea." So I like went home. I lost sleep over it for like 3 weeks, and then I finally decided, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. We all, when you're two business school founders, they're like, "Go, you have to find a head of engineering, or this is not gonna happen." So it's all they cared about. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna post the job descriptions in San Francisco, Palo Alto, and Denver. I think we put Boulder up too. And we're just going to see what we get. So applications start coming in for a head of engineering role. And by far, the best candidate we got was a gal named Jess Rusin, and I should probably emphasize gal, who became our director of engineering. She's now Guild's SVP of engineering, and she's phenomenal, and many of the folks here have the pleasure of working for her. I sometimes wish I got to work for Jess. And so I brought those resumes and I showed them, like, okay, so we've been, interviewing and posting, and here are all the candidates we've seen. And I didn't show them which cities they were from, and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the gal. And they looked at the resumes and were like, yeah, absolutely, this is the gal. Okay, great, she lives in Golden, Colorado, so that's gonna work out great. And they were like, oh, all right. So we moved here with 5 employees at the time. Jess and Travis Havey were our 6th and 7th, and they were our starting engineering team and helped us move from working with the dev shop we've been working with. It was very good to us, but you don't wanna, do that for the long term. And then off to the races. So that was 3.5 years ago. Today's actually Guild's 4th year anniversary. We have a big party tonight to We've grown from those 7 employees to 320 today, and we're thrilled. All but 1 employee is here. We have 1 employee in Idaho who's there helping a military group we work with, and her spouse is also in the military and there. So we are 99.9% Denver strong, and thrilled to have our 1 Idaho employee as well. But we want to keep building here.
Great. If you work for Guild, could you raise your hands? I have a lot of Guild folks. Thanks for coming. I didn't prep you for this question, but tell me a little bit about your employees. Like, they're the core of your company.
Yeah, okay. So much good stuff to say. So I think everyone that shows up to Guild every day shows up to work on our mission. And I'm so honored that every single role that's been the deciding factor. We used to have people stand up at all hands and say why they joined the company. 1, that made people very nervous. But 2, we made them say why they joined, and everyone would go mission. Then say some derivative of I joined for the mission, I joined for this part of the mission, and so now I just know that everyone, and people also come to get paid, and that's important, and we want to help families, and we want to help people learn. But we have found that by focusing and interviewing for people who are passionate about our mission of using technology and partnerships, we're primarily a public-private partnership company. So with the mix of technology, partnerships, and support, we're changing the lives of tens of thousands of Americans who've never had the chance to go back to school, who thought that learning is done for them, who carry around a lot of shame about their ability to learn. They believe that they failed rather than realizing that the K-12 and higher ed system just failed them. So we found this amazing group of 320 growing who share that passion. I'd also share that, we're working hard to be a diverse and inclusive community at Guild. Directionally, 70% of Guild reports to a woman right now. Which is unique. I think one thing I charge this whole group with, and I charge myself with, is Denver is not as racially diverse today as we'd like it to be, and I think you also see that in the tech community. I'd like to see us outperform Denver's diversity statistics and not let that be an excuse for the fact that we're not as racially diverse as we'd like to be. At Guild, we've also worked really hard on being inclusive to the LGBTQ community. We're proud to be one of the biggest participants in the Pride Parade a couple months ago, as well as thinking really strategically about what that looks like from small decisions and large decisions. And then also I'm a new mom. I had twin girls while we were fundraising for Guild last year, which is a little bit of a nightmare, but Guild was so supportive to me, and this community has been so great to me. So we're also thinking a lot about how to be supportive to working parents, not just moms and dads. And so we're actually working on building the first in-office daycare in Denver for a startup, because normally companies wait till they're much bigger to do that. So we're going to try and break the mold and do it now.
Are you hiring?
Yes. We're hoping to hire another 150 people in the next 6 months. And so we are continuing to grow at an aggressive pace. We're building out 3 floors in Republic Plaza on 17th and Tremont right now. And then we imagine we're going to fill them by February. So then we'll build more. So we're hiring across all roles. And now you got me on that. So of course I have to tell everybody. But yes, we're hiring across all types of things. And back to the Denver piece. One thing that I think I charge you all with, we've worked really, really hard to make sure that the tech community brings everyone along. And I think you all can play an important role in that. I'm continuing to be discouraged by the number of companies here that either only give equity to their leadership team or their leadership and their engineers. So as folks with a voice, which all of you have here as a part of the developer community, make sure your company is taking care of everyone on your team. Advocate for this customer support team to get equity, advocate for the IT team, advocate for the receptionist. Because I think, if we want to be the strongest community and we don't just want to be HQ2 town, I want to be HQ1 town.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that everyone has that opportunity, because the way San Francisco became that was the first round of startups, all of the employees had equity, they then had liquidity events, and then they had the economic freedom to go found things themselves. And those might be businesses, they might be nonprofits, they might just be more economic freedom for their family. But we have to encourage that. The cap table flows all the way down here in Denver. And so let's make sure, Denver and Boulder, let's make sure we hold everyone accountable that needs to happen across the board.
Great, thank you. Last question. Yeah, give it a round. What would you like to say to the wonderful people of Develop Denver?
Well, this is my soapbox, so I'll name that up front, and I'm sitting on one. So I would say, make sure you're using your powers for good. You all are so unbelievably talented. It is so fun to get to, I had a board meeting in San Francisco 2 days ago and tell them about the amazing talent we're hiring here in this community and how it not only meets, rivals, and exceeds any other community where we could hire. But the thing we all have to be thoughtful about is how do we use those skills for good? How do we make sure we're building products, solutions, and solving problems for everyone, whether that, what your passion is this local community, whether it's this state, whether it's problems in the US or global problems. There's, unfortunately, I think, too much venture capital, too much funding, and too much time of really, really bright people solving problems that, again, like valet for rich people, great, but let's solve problems and let the tech community be a part of that, because the national dialogue right now, the average American who isn't familiar with tech thinks what tech does is run ads and make money on ads, right? And that's a personal thing for us, because part of Guild's arbitrage is low-income students. Otherwise, we're trying to figure out where to go back to school on Facebook and Google and spending millions of dollars in what ultimately becomes their tuition on Google and Facebook ads, because universities advertise there. They then pass that cost along to universities, or to their students, So about a third of the student debt crisis sits at the feet of Google and Facebook right now, but no one's saying that. So that's my personal beat, which is let's show that tech can be a power for good in helping people get information other than through very expensive ad channels, but find yours. What's your power for good? How do you want to make sure that you spend your days waking up and doing something that makes someone else's life better? And I think if Denver continues to be the city where our tech community leads on that, we win.
Our keynote speaker, thank you so much. Thank you for letting some of the Guild employees come and join our conference. So let's give it up for Rachel Carlson.